what have you seen in families over this year?
A lot of flexibility, a lot of pivoting. You look at your typical like family roles before COVID, and I think with quarantine, parents all of a sudden had to become full-time working adults in their home and full-time parents and full-time teachers, and kids wanting that attention but not being able to always get it from parents because you can only do so much. You can't be super mom, super dad, as much as society might tell you you have to be, or you can be, you can't. It's been a lot of really lacking in social interaction for the kids, which has been really hard developmentally.
Yeah, because everyone just wants, I mean, as a child, I remember wanting to just go out and play all the time. And that it's a huge component of in-person school. So you're saying that that's lacking a lot with this online way?
Yes, very much so. I think that the schools are doing the best that they can, but I think unless you know a lot more of that like developmental piece, you don't recognize that kids are actually learning their social skills from interactions with each other, and you can't get that as much over the internet. Like you're not seeing those real-time facial expressions or reactions, and the internet gives you that lag between, okay, like we're just typing, so I don't have to see what their reaction is. But if you said the same thing in person, it could be very different.
So what do you recommend is like the most important recommendation you can make for parents in supporting their child during this time?
So one of the things that I saw the most of is that kids completely lost their routine. Sleep schedules changed, which meant that it was impacting mood. Anxiety's been high for just about everyone during this time because everything that we've known has been so different. So if you can really figure out what your routine had been before this and keep it as close to that, and routine doesn't need to be like every single moment planned out, like that's not realistic for anyone to follow, but we're waking up at this time, we have breakfast around this time. I want you to be able to have some kind of movement-based activity around this time every day. Your online learning is at this time. We're going to do some family activity around this time every day. Dinner's at this time. This is what bedtime routine looks like.
Yeah, because before school would do that, right? You would wake up, have breakfast, send them off, and then the teachers and all support staff would help them have those moments. So you're suggesting that parents should focus on at least getting a routine back, or continuing if they're doing it.
Yeah, and I mean, if they can do that, you're going to see some pretty significant decreases in any anxiety or depression for your kids and for yourself as well.
You hit on depression and anxiety. Is that a kind of behavior that you've been seeing in children through the pandemic?
Across age ranges. It hasn't just been in children, it's been in the adults, it's been in the parents, but I mean, we're really thrown out of everything. We don't know what to predict anymore. We're nervous to go outside, we're nervous to contract this. So yeah, that's definitely leading to a lot of anxiety, and then the longer that we're inside, the fewer interactions that we have. A lot of people haven't been moving their bodies either, and I mean, we were told this was going to last 2 weeks, and we're here over a year later. So there's a lot of hopelessness going around too. So, I mean, all of that plays into higher depression rates, higher anxiety rates.
But is it important to focus on the parents' own self first to then help their children?
Yes, and I know that for a lot of parents that's going to seem counterintuitive, right? We want to put our kids first, but we can't take care of our kids if we're not taking care of ourselves. Like, you only have so much energy in your bucket, and if you have none of that left, there's no way that you're going to be able to help your child. So you need to take care of yourself, and that's also modeling for your child that it's important for them to take care of themselves too.
If they're working from home and they're trying to take care of their kids, what does that look like?
It can look like a bunch of different things in terms of kind of where each person is at. If you feel like you need to talk to a professional, like if it's at that level, taking those 45 minutes, that hour once a week for yourself. And that's even a great conversation to have with your kids. Like, this is an okay thing for me to do, and I'm really taking control of myself, my actions, my emotions, and trying to be a better mommy, a better daddy for you. that's like the higher end, right? I have to throw that therapy piece in.
Yeah. No, I think it's very important.
But it could also be as simple as like, all right, 3 times a week, like I'm gonna go for a 20-minute walk, like while dad is watching the kids or while mom is watching the kids. I'm going to take half an hour and read a book. I'm going to just go sit outside for a little bit and have a little bit of me time. It's figuring out those coping strategies, which like that's a term that all therapists are gonna throw around if you're not a therapist. The way I like to describe it is, you know, it's those activities that make you feel good about yourself, the things that you like to do, your interests. It doesn't have to be the mindfulness, I'm taking all these deep breaths, or I'm doing this like meditation for 2 hours. Honestly, if you can do that, great. I can't do that, and maybe make it 2 minutes, so don't ever feel like hard on yourself, guys, if you can't do that. But yeah, it's figuring out just how to have you time, and the more you can do it outside of the house, whether it's just sitting in your backyard or going for a walk, if you feel like you can safely do that, I would encourage that, because we've been inside for a year. Like we're starting to feel very isolated, and we kind of want to break that.
Yeah, and especially within the last couple of weeks, the weather has been really nice. Now it's a time that people can feel that they want to get outside and they want to enjoy this weather, so that is good. It's just to take a walk, to take a moment, to read a book, something that for themselves to do it, and then that will hopefully mirror to their children. Is that the kind of the goal of
Yeah.
it? Families have been spending probably a lot of time together, especially if you are living with each other. I know that some families, at least in our community, have multi-generations. What would you recommend for families that want to maybe have a way to bond more?
This is gonna sound cheesy. Family game night, right? Like we usually have board games. If not, then like there's plenty of video games that you can play as a family. Family dinners too. Like some families really love to do that, and other people, like their schedules have really gotten all over the place. But having those moments of, you know what, we're all together, we're all doing the same thing, we can have a conversation of what our day is like. Those are really like the biggest ones. And again, like I know that family game night sounds cheesy, and you're going to get the teenagers like rolling their eyes and like, oh my gosh, but you can make that more interactive with them, where it's not like, okay, like we're all playing Yahtzee. Like, nope, we're throwing like different ideas of games into a hat, and like we're picking one, and that's how we do it. Family movie night, the same thing. And that one, be careful with, because of all the screen time that everyone's having. Like if you want to get them out and moving, I know people who have done like workout classes with their kids, or they've done like, all right, like we're gonna, like mom does yoga, so now you're gonna do like a kids version of yoga with me, and then like the kids just feel, I don't know, like closer to mom. Teenagers will also buy into that a little bit more, right? Like, all right, I'm exercising, I don't actually have to talk to you.
Planning those out.
Yeah, so it would be part of that routine. It would also be part of those coping skills, right? I had mentioned it more of like parents doing that on their own, but you can do those with your kids too. It's a really good modeling, like the whole family of like, okay, I'm making sure that I'm taking care of myself, but I'm doing this in a way that we're also taking care of you, and we're bonding over it. I'm teaching you how to manage your negative emotions, how to manage your stress, how to really take care of you, so that when you are an adult, you know these strategies, you know how to do this for yourself.